Attention all wrestling fans, get ready for the ultimate fan experience at the WCBS WrestleMania Fan Meetup in Los Angeles, California from March 30th through April 2nd. This event will bring together the biggest event in wrestling and your favorite podcast, as well as diehard fans from all over the world. This is the perfect opportunity for fans to connect and celebrate their love of the sport as well as their love of us. So mark your calendars, grab your tickets, and get ready to suck it and join us live. Don't miss out on the ultimate fan experience of the WCBS WrestleMania Fan Meetup weekend in LA. And if you're not a wrestling fan, there will be other YouTube creator events, including a trip to the brand new Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios. So listen to World Class Bullshitters Live for more updates, and for more information, email worldclassbs@mail.com. Thebestmail.com, jabroni. Records are made to be broken, and this weekend, Ant-Man broke another one, as the biggest drop-off in the history of the MCU. Man, Phase 5 is getting off to a nice start, isn't it?
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
Ant-Man and the Wasp are in trouble. No, not from Kang. No, not from MODOK, but from apathy. General audiences are showing up less and less for Marvel movies, yet the insiders, those people who have the information, claim that it's not a big deal. But we've heard this story before with Star Wars and other Marvel properties, and, well, let's figure out what's different this time, shall we? The third installment in Marvel Studios' Ant-Man series dropped 69.7% in North American theaters after just 2 weeks in theaters, adding $32.2 million to its box office gross. This is a massive fall from the $120.4 million earned in Quantumania's debut over the 4-day President's Day weekend. Despite the drop, Quantumania still topped the box office for the weekend overall, beating out Cocaine Bear, but these numbers still make it the worst box office drop for any Marvel Cinematic Universe film ever, and the biggest drop-off for superhero movies in general that opened to $100 million. That's a lot of films. If we just compare it to the top 10 highest opening Marvel weekends, you see that films like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 opened at $146 million, and that's the lower end of the top. We also have films like Captain Marvel, that opened to $153 million, Iron Man 3 that opened to $174 million, Captain America Winter Soldier that opened to $179 million, and other Avengers films that all grossed almost $200 million opening weekend, with Avengers Endgame making $357 million in its opening weekend, which is more than Ant-Man will probably ever make. Now we'll get back to Ant-Man's doom and gloom in just a minute, but you have to pay attention to the wording here. One for the overall weekend. These articles are written as if Ant-Man dominated the weekend, but Ant-Man didn't really dominate the weekend. See, it won the weekend box office, but the weekend box office includes Friday, and according to the list right here, Cocaine Bear won Friday. You see, folks, more people were interested in an R-rated cocaine-fueled comedy about a bear that goes crazy in the woods than they were your average MCU fare. No one's going to talk about that part. No one's going to talk about how Cocaine Bear, a film that cost $35 million, beat out Ant-Man, a film that cost $250 million. That's the real part of the story that they're not telling you, folks. Marvel's being hurt by small movies from other big studios. If a $35 million movie in one day can hurt Ant-Man, think about what other movies can do with a slightly bigger budget or more hype. Cocaine Bear is an R-rated film that just really has a smaller appeal than Marvel movies, yet people were interested by the trailer. Hell, I was interested by the trailer. I'll have a review for it later this week. But let's just remember that when we talk about the actual success of Ant-Man's second weekend. It didn't dominate the weekend at all. It just skated by being number one. But most places won't talk about that. Insiders at Marvel Studios aren't worried about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania despite the film's record drop at the domestic box office. Marvel takes something away from movies including Black Panther, including Avengers. An insider close to the film told Deadline about Quantumania, which dropped nearly 70% at the domestic box office in its second weekend in theaters. I can say we're all incredibly proud of the film. Jonathan Majors does a fantastic job as Kang. It's the movie we wanted to make. Box office is what it is, but it's not going to stop people from going back to theaters. Well, you're right, Mr. Insider. It's not going to stop people from going back to theaters. They'll just go see a different movie at the theater. Like I said, I saw Cocaine Bear in the same theater that was playing Ant-Man, yet I didn't go back to see Ant-Man. I wonder why. It just wasn't very good. And it's very interesting how anytime you discuss the success of Ant-Man, they want to hide behind Jonathan Majors is wonderful. That's cool, but he's not a household name. And you're not going to make him a household name by putting him at the forefront of a movie people don't really like. He's going to have Kang, he's going to have Apollo Creed's adversary, whatever the hell he's going to be called. Like, dude's going to have a big year. Good for him. I don't have any trouble with him as an actor. But he's not the movie. He didn't make the film. And I'm glad those at Marvel are very proud and they want to stand by this work. You know, this is the same thing Disney said about The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. and then they wanted to get away from them and make more to make up for the losses. It's all a big mess behind the scenes at Disney. You guys know about the finances. We've been covering them for a while. There are other channels like WDW Pro and Valiant Renegade who've been covering the Disney decline. This channel's been documenting the decline in Disney merchandise for years. It's not a new trend, folks. It's just they're finally admitting it's the truth. Years ago, when you said Star Wars is in the toilet and it's not going to make as much money and you could prove it, people were like, all right, fine. But then when you said about Marvel, they're like, no, Marvel's too big to fail. But we're in the middle of the giant falling down. The giant is toppling. It's all coming down. And the Avengers was the main event. The lead up, the build up to this new version of the Avengers, led by Captain Marvel or Spider-Man or whatever, isn't going to do the same numbers. I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite hero and the reason I became a professional artist. But Spider-Man alone isn't going to make the MCU feel as whole and complete as it used to. The old selling point was seeing all the heroes together in one place, and Marvel used to focus on that. And now they want to break it down in subgenres and talk about the Ant-Man franchise versus the Avengers franchise versus this versus that, and that's all well and good. But overall, across the board, Marvel movies, anything with that big red M on it, isn't doing what it used to. Look at the box office across the board. Look at the critic score across the board. These are people that are paid to watch movies. They're not that good. Then the audience isn't showing up as much, and then you got these people scrambling in the back. Well, I hope Marvel's scrambling quick enough to make me some fucking eggs because they need to do something quick to fix Phase 5. Waking up to articles like this can't make them too happy, no matter how much they want to talk about insiders that are okay with this number or we're very proud of the film. That's great, but you're a business, and your movies, your products, they're just not doing what they used to, and maybe you should be concerned. It's nice to be able to pat yourself on the back and say, look at the kind of guy we got as the villain. All right, I'm supposed to just open my wallet because there's a black guy playing the bad guy? Oh my god, how many movies have bad guys that are black? Countless villains are black. Hell, James Bond fought black villains 50 years ago. Whew, how progressive is that? Shit, Mr. Big, Dr. Kanango was just as badass as James Bond too. That's how you write a good story. I remember that character's name. I remember his empire and how cool he was and all the shit he had going. James Bond went up against a big task, and it wasn't even a random task. He just so happened to be black. But nowadays it's like, oh man, look at how great our new villain is. Really, what does Jonathan Major bring to the table that Tom Hiddleston didn't? What does Kang bring to the table that Ultron didn't? You know, James Spader was getting all this praise beforehand, and then we just kind of, forgot about him. Tom Hiddleston, oh, he's a good guy. It doesn't matter. He's a villain. We don't count him. We're always looking to build up the newest thing in the MCU, but the fans, they like to remember the quality. And the fans also like to remember the good times. And I bet Disney would love to be living in those good times right about now. So folks, what do you think of this information? The fact that Ant-Man has the biggest drop in history, a record 69 point whatever %, making it the biggest, as well as a big drop off for films that opened over $100 million, superhero-wise. It's a lot of information to take in, but it's a lot of information that's important to us. Folks, as we like to talk about the future of entertainment here on the channel, well, the future just seems to be riding the train till the wheels fall off. And I have some bad news for conductor Kevin Feige. The wheels fell off around Albuquerque, and you guys are just... Welcome to New Palestine, Ohio, Disney. I think you'll fit right in. So folks, thank you for watching. I gotta get out of here, but if you like this content, and I know you do, hit that thumbs up button. It's not for us, it's to let YouTube know that you enjoy this content, and you can help other people find WCBS. But folks, if you really want to help WCBS, besides subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on any extra content, join the membership program. Get access to the fun chats, exclusive content, and more. I'll have an interview with the creators of one of our favorite childhood TV shows that's kind of related to Ant-Man in some way, but it's known to be one of the best cartoons of all time, and I have some of those creators coming on the channel in a couple of days. So folks, be on the lookout for that, and that's going to be released exclusively to the membership program. But folks, I'm going to get out of here and go get prepared for that and much more because we got a lot of content coming from WCBS. So don't miss out. Come out to hang out at WrestleMania meetup here in California. We'll be here live from March 30th through April 2nd. And then after that, you'll never know where WCBS is going to be. We're locked into the Cincinnati Comic Expo. We're taking on more bookings and locations throughout the year. We are world-class bullshitters, and we're going to put the world in our name right now. So folks, be on the lookout for that. Get your comics, get your content, get your merchandise from us, and get ready because 2023 is the year of world-class bullshitters. So folks, there's one thing you need to do. Well, multiple things, and that is be smart, be safe, be cool, but here it is. Always be excellent to each other. Thanks for watching today's video. Yes, it's over, but don't cry because there's more, a lot more from World Class Bullshitters. And there's only one way to get it. Hit that subscribe button below. When you do that, you'll get notifications and updates from World Class Bullshitters every time we go live. Basically, you won't miss anything. And if there's one thing I hate, it's FOMO. But the thing most people hate more than FOMO is fear of missing out on World Class Bullshitters, because there's just some things you can't undo. So folks, do yourselves a favor and never miss anything from World Class Bullshitters. One last thing before you go, hit the thumbs up button. Not for our egos, no, they're big enough as this, but it does help us fight the algorithm here, and well, it's man versus machine, and that's the real fight. But if that's not your battle, that's okay. There's one last way you can help WCBS, and that's going over to shopwcbs.com, picking up a t-shirt, a beer glass, a sweatshirt, a poster, all sorts of ways to back WCBS. The difference between us and other YouTube channels is I'm the artist that makes all this stuff, so if you enjoy art beyond t-shirts, you can even read our comic books. We got it all. We're called the epitome of pop culture for a reason, and no, again, it's not for our egos. So folks, make sure you're involved with every aspect of World Class Bullshitters, not just for us, but do it for yourself. We're making the change in entertainment everybody out there wants to see. And a special thank you goes out to all of our wonderful patrons who make this content possible. Go to patreon.com/worldclassbs to get involved and help out the channel.